you can know the truth. Find out how in this episode of 5 Minutes Closer. I'm Vaughn Weatherford, and this is 5 Minutes Closer. For the next 5 minutes, let's explore some biblical truths and apply them to your life. No podcast, including this one, can transform your life or give you what you really need. Only Jesus can do that. You can find out why in what I've called the first five episodes of 5 Minutes Closer. Each following episode explores scriptural truths that, if you follow them, will bring you 5 minutes closer to the person God created you to be. Let's see if we can get you 5 minutes closer. I've always been fascinated by space exploration. As a child, I followed every mission NASA undertook. I remember when I got to see a moon rock up close in a museum. I was amazed. I anticipate with great interest all the things that scientists will discover from the samples that NASA recently retrieved from an asteroid. I'm glad they have people smarter than me working on that. When my grandchildren bring me a rock and ask me what it is, after some deliberation, I usually pronounce, "Yep, that's a rock." It's important to know what you have, not just when it comes to rocks. The Christians of John's day found themselves bombarded with all kinds of ideas claiming to be the truth. In 1 John chapter 4, John writes that they must be careful to discern what is really true and what is not. He provides them with a simple test that we can still use today. It's found in 1 John chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. "Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. For many false prophets have gone out into the world. By this you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God. And every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard was coming and now is in the world already." Everything that sounds good is not true. The Christians of John's day, like today, were bombarded with all kinds of false information. John writes a very simple command: don't believe everything you hear. Don't get caught up in every new philosophy that comes along. They may have a slick presentation, it may sound perfect, but don't believe it. John explains why in the second part of verse 1. There are false prophets in the world. John gives the solution in the next verse. You will hear every kind of theology and philosophy bantered about. It almost sounds like there is somebody somewhere who will believe just about anything. But that doesn't mean we have to believe it. We need to heed the warning that all kinds of false teachings are always going to surround us in this world. We are not to become anxious, not to worry about it. The Scripture provides a simple test to know what is true and what is not. Just ask yourself the question, what do they believe about Jesus? Everyone that believes that Jesus has come in the flesh is of God. John notes two essential truths that must be a part of that belief. First, the belief must be that Jesus is the Christ. That same Jesus born in Bethlehem of the Virgin Mary, raised in Nazareth, who taught, performed miracles throughout Judea, who died on the cross, who rose again. That same Jesus is the Christ. The second part of that belief is that this same Jesus, this historical Jesus, has come in the flesh, not appeared to be the flesh or claimed to be God, but this same Jesus is who he said he is, the Son of God in the flesh. To claim that Jesus was who he said he was is to accept the teachings and to do his commands. You can't truthfully claim that Jesus is the Christ and then not follow the Scripture. So if someone claims that Jesus is the Christ, but their teaching somehow denies the Scripture, they have not genuinely claimed that Jesus is the Christ. Again, the test is, what do they believe about Jesus? That's the foundation of everything they teach and do. It's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. That famous bell tower in Italy is known worldwide as one of the great architectural mistakes of all time. Construction began in the 12th century but halted when the builders realized they made the foundation too shallow to support the building that they had planned. Over the next 200 years, builders tried to fix the structure, but with no success. The construction concluded in the 14th century, but without correcting the foundation, the tower continued to lean. Today, it now leans fully 21 feet out of plumb. The building won't stand straight if the foundation isn't right. John writes, the same is true about belief. If the foundation isn't Jesus, the teaching isn't true. You can know the truth when you see it. And now, you're 5 minutes closer. My prayer is that these 5 minutes have challenged you, inspired you, and caused you to consider applying God's message for your life from His Word. To find out more, visit our website at 5minutescloser.com. Join me next time to see if we can get you 5 minutes closer.